Guys, good day guys. This is Afek again. Welcome to our episode that we are going to talk about CBDR. That's the central bank dealers range. CBDR CBDR is called the central bank's dealer range. So the central banks, this we are just trying, it's just a footprint based on our understanding of how the market works. It must not be is exactly like this the central banks are doing, but yeah, due to our understanding on how the market works, we assume that they are doing it this way, okay? And it seems it's working, so we capitalize on it, and then we assume that yeah, this is how they are doing, right? Okay, there is no certainty, nothing is 100% right. Okay, so yeah, let's get to the work. Okay, so when we talk about the central bank's dealer rate, we assume a range where central banks take and then what, do some projections, and then yeah, and then they assume a projection of the high of the day or low of the day. Okay, and it's usually in multiples, that is times 2, times 1, times 1.5, times 2.5 sometimes. Okay, but normally we take the whole number, that is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have two things to consider. That is the timing. The time comes first. So the time for this CBDR, central bank's dealer range, we take everything it is in EST, the timing. Okay, so we have 1400, that is on the 24-hour clocks, which is 2 p.m. on the which is 2 p.m. and what, and 2000, which is 8 p.m. on the normal clock. So this is the timing, this is the range we are taking. Let's say, for example, let's draw the range. Okay, let's take this thing, and then what, this on that, right? So we check for 1400. Here is it. So we take the endings, that is from previous day. Okay, we know from previous day to range to calculate the next day high of the day or low of the day. Okay, so this is 1400, and then here is 2000. This is 15-minute time frame. You can choose any time frame preferred of your choice. Okay, so this is 15-minute time frame. So we use this to project the high of the day or low of the day on day 4, that is on 4th April. Okay, so first thing you have to do, you have to know your bias. That means what is the where am I anticipating the day to go? Is it a buy day or a sell day, or is it a range day? That's it buys and sells. Okay, so you choose, right? So we have these numbers. We have to on our Fibonacci. Let me just show the settings. Yeah, CBDR. So this is my Fibonacci settings. You can see it. You just have to screenshot it. This the one that's on. You have to screenshot it and then set it up like this. You can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see -1, -2, -3, and -4. We use this for the projections. Okay, so yeah, in a ranging day, in a buy day, usually we see the high of the day. That's in a range day and a buy day. We usually see the high of the day at what, at 4 or 3, right? The high of the day at 3 or 4. It's based on the point of interest we are capitalizing on it. Okay, and then you have two things. You either try to buy to the high of the day, or you wait for it to the high of the day to come and then you sell. We normally know that if it is a buy day, the market open, and then what, it goes down small, and then what, it goes high to make the high, then it's come down small again, right? So that's how a buy day works, right? It comes down small just for what, manipulation. Let's assume this is the opening of the day, right? It comes down, so let's mark this at the open of the day. Sorry, let's mark this as the opening of the day. This is the opening of the day. Then what? It goes down and then what? Goes up to make the high, and then what? And then comes down small, right? So we have either two things. It's either we check for buys below the open of the day and then what? Move to the high of the day, or we wait for it to come to the high of the day and then what? We sell, right? For it to make the close before the candle close, right? So we have two things. We either whenever we are going to we think it's a buy day, then what are we anticipating? We will project, we will check where possibly the low of the day will form. Okay, where possibly the low of the day will form based on the CBDR, right? So when we check it, then we anticipate and buy from it, right? We buy from the low of the day, we drive it to the high of the day. But sometimes, some days, you will see it will just make a small low, and then what? It goes up. Whenever it has something like this, then the high of the day, it will comes down a little more than those that create the low of the day, a very fake move before moving, right? So in this type of day, we wait for it to make the high of the day based on our anticipation, to make the high of the day, and then what? We sell there, and then we sell to the next CBDR range. Okay, so let's check this day and see what type of day it is. So this is 2000, right? So let's check where the day opens. The day opens at 17, right? So you can see this day it opens, and then what? It just rallies up. It has a small movement to down, right? The market start moving. The market just start moving, and then what? It tests the opening, and then it keeps moving before even our time to trade, right? So we won't have the low of the day, but what? We will project the high of the day. So using the Fibonacci, when you have this range, right? So you will just mark, you check this range. Where is the high? Here is the high, right? So we mark the high. We mark the high. Where is the low of the range? Here is it, right? So we mark the low of the range. After we mark the low of the range, what are we going to do? We project the high and the low. We project it based on our Fibonacci settings. So this day, it's normally when you check, it has to be a very strong buy day. Okay, so when we are anticipating a very strong buy day, we anticipate the high of the day at 4 normally, but sometimes at 3 or 3.5, but 4 normally. Okay, so we anticipate, but what? I have to have that point of view. This is just a confluence. Okay, a confluence. So we have to anticipate. We have where is the day buying before we trade, right? We anticipate the day is buying to this point of interest, to this point, right? Point of interest, right? So when it reaches day, we assume that that's the high of the day, or yeah, based on the projection, right? We have that's a confluence. We have our own point of interest, and then it merges with what? 4 or 3. It merges with 4 or 3. Then what? We anticipate the sell. So let's check this day. You can see what had happened. Here is 3, right? And then here is 4. This is the 4. I said normally 4 or sometimes 3. So this is where 4 did, right? Where are you going to put your stop loss in this such? Let's say you anticipate a sell here. You have to do either two things. When you sell blindly, then you have to activate the number 5 CBDR, and then what? Use your stop loss there. Then your stop loss should be here. That's if you sold blindly, okay? But when you have an edge, you have your entry technique, then what? You wait for it there. When it comes to there, then what? You check for your entry. Do you have that your confirmation? You usually have before you take a trade. If yes, then you use that technique and then get your stop loss area and then put it, right? But when you sell blindly, then you have to use this for your own word. You have to use the next CBDR, because sometimes it can come above, but what? It won't reach the next dealers, the next projection. Okay, so that's how normally this thing works. So we can see another example here. Let's just get another example. I said yeah, 14, right? Let's check for 14. Yeah, here is 14, right? Where is 20? Let's check for 20. So for example, I have checked this Euro USD. We can see on the daily chart, it's almost, we have a sell bias. Okay, that's a sell bias. Okay, so when we are selling, what are we going to do? We either buy to the high of the day, or we wait for it to come to the high of the day, and then we sell to the low of the day, right? So here, where is our range? So when it's making the high of the day, yeah, on a sell day, it usually go at 2 or 3, not reaching 4. 2 or 3, not reaching 4. When it reaches 4 and then it's a sell day, that means it's not a classic sell day. That means it's a range day. But normally it doesn't go to that. We usually anticipate 2 or 3 based on your point of interest. Is your point of interest at 2? Yes. Is it at 3? Yes. I capitalize on it. So let's check this day also. Yeah, you can see this. We have 3, right? You can see this is almost at 3, right? You can see 2 here, probably when it reaches 2, and then it gives you confirmation. So you got stop out on this, right? That's if you didn't blend it with your point of interest. Your point of interest should tell you where to choose, which range to choose. So when you choose this range, you can see the stop loss is at 4, right? That's the invalidation level, and you are not invalidated. So you get there, and then you anticipate. If it is a sell day, you anticipate your your own sell day, right? So let's get to the next day again. And then the range, it has to be small range, that's less than 30 pips. When it's greater than 30 pips, then yeah, when it's greater than 30 pips, then we avoid the trading day based on the model, not the day. Maybe you might have a model that works for you there. All right. So on 9, here is the 14, right? Sometimes you may be having a smaller range as less as 5 pips. So when it's selling, probably, let's say it's a sell day or it's a buy day, then probably sometimes it might reaches 4 before it start buying, and then it might double that 4, the TP, right? That's the high of the day. So let's check. Here is 14, and then here is our 20. I like to see it smaller range. Actually, it's very beautiful. It works like magic on that ranges. Smaller than let's say 10 pips sometimes. Yeah, here is the high of the range. We clean this. So let's project. So sometimes like I said, you can see here, right? Sometimes it doesn't reaches 2, or that's big numbers, round numbers. Sometimes like these days, I have my point of interest here. You can see is below 2, right? This favor lookup. So what did I did there? Like I said, we normally choose round numbers, but on that day I choose 1.5 also. That is not a round number. Sometimes you can use those numbers, but normally round numbers, right? Normally you can miss trade. Just don't worry, it's not a must to catch rate. But yeah, when you open your 1.5, you can see it's something like this. Very good sniper entry, right? But yeah, it's normally okay when you wait for 2 and then you miss the trade. It's normally okay, right? Because it's a news day that day, so it surpasses the 4, right? It surpasses. That's up to 8 RR this trade. So when you take it, probably, yeah, your stop loss should be at a round number when you are taking this kind of entries. That's at 2. A stop loss at 2 should be around 8 RR sometimes. If it does something like this and it reaches 4, should be around, oh sorry, it's over than that, but normally around 8 RR. Okay, so that's all for it, guys, for CBDR. Then we are going to I have already make a trade about about inversion favor lookup, right? But let's see a small example. It's a perfect entry technique for this CBDR. You can use any type of your entry technique. Are you a retail trader? Are you trading support and resistance? When it comes to the high of the day that you project, you can just check for your own entry technique, your support and resistance, your volume, your this thing, Fibonacci, anything you are using, your order block as a SMC trader, favor lookup, breaker block, any kind of your entry technique, you can just use it there. Don't hesitate. Your 2022 model, ICT, any kind of model. But I just want to introduce, like, because I have already had many trades about the inversion favor lookup, right? So let's see, let's just explain it again, and then just an explanation, right? When we are moving higher, they are high, right? When we are moving high like this, right? So we anticipate this market pullback to order block or what, or favor lookup, right? We might have a bunches of favor lookups around here, this range, right? A negative favor lookups that traps orders. Someone will just mark this favor lookup here and then anticipate a sell when it reaches that favor lookup, right? And then he will anticipate a sell here, right? But then what? He got liquidated there, right? So sometimes, let's see something. So let's say, for example, like this, we are moving like this, right? And then what? We have an inefficiency, a favor lookup. Let's say, let's use some psychology tips to explain this thing. Okay, so we have this favor lookup. Is, let's say, is we have just buys orders there, right? We need sales orders to make the favor lookup efficient. Which kind of favor lookup is this? A BC favor lookup. That's the buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, right? So we have buys orders here, right? We need sales orders to get these buys orders balanced. The buys orders are not balanced. Why? Because the sales orders is what? It's not balanced. It's not efficient. We have inefficient sellers to balance these buys orders. That's why it's called buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. The buys or the buy orders are not balanced because of what? Because we have inefficient sellers. That's where the name came in, right? So what happens is that the market bring those sellers and sells their orders to these buyers there, and then what? And then it keeps moving its direction, right? It keeps moving its direction. So here we might have probably a what? Some sort of CB here. That's another favor lookup. Sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. Two different names. The sales orders here are not balanced because of what? We have no efficient buyers, right? So now the market comes, and then what? We have efficient buyers. They are efficient. They buy through the range, making it balancing this what? These sellers, right? Because it's not balanced now. We have efficient buyers, they balance these sales, right? So it gets this favor lookup balance, right? So and then what? It has to move its direction, right? So when we are moving in an uptrend or in a we are trying to move higher, we want to see this opposite favor lookup get filled and then what? Get violated. When you are trying to sell, it gets you liquidated, and then what? It moves higher. So the first step to understand the market is moving higher is by what? Balancing these favor lookups, making it what? Breaking through it, right? Breaking through it. Talk less of balancing it and keep moving the direction, but what? It gets what? It gets liquidated, right? It gets breakthrough. So many times when it's moved like this, the range is already balanced. So when the market comes down to it, it has no business to do here, right? So when it enters it, you can see what happens. Now we have here we have sales orders and then what? Buys orders. it balance. So now when it comes through it again, that means what? It creates another sales orders, which is what? Not balance again. So what it has to do? It has to buy through again. So that means what? It sells these orders, now it's buying the orders. We have these sales orders, now it's buying it and moving its own direction. So this is where the theory comes, right? When the market is moving in and up, so what do you assume? We have these favor lookups. Now the favor lookup is balance. So when the market creates another sales orders, that's when what? We are joining the market makers to buy these sales orders that came into this balance range, right? Now we and the market makers, we don't have the money to push the market, right? So we join them as they push the market. They push to balance these sales orders. They are the ones to buy these orders, right? Not we. Our money is not efficient to balance the orders. So now we are joining them in the move and then buying, right? So we are using, let's say, this concept. The market comes here. We anticipate it as high of the day, right? So we have this favor lookup. We create this favor lookup in moving what? Towards the high of the day. Now we reach the high of the day, right? So we wait. We want to see this order, this favor lookup get violated. So when it comes down, balance it, and then what? When it comes back to it, creating these sales orders, accumulating sales orders, right? It comes to it, then what? We join them in buying this. We join them in selling this. It accumulate buys orders, right? So we join them in selling these buys orders, and then we anticipate the movement, right? So this is just the video understanding the CBDR and then the what? Inversion favor lookup. I will drop later the second version of the video, right, which explains more further about this model. Okay, so thank you guys. This is just to understand the model, right? And then anticipate. Yeah, we are going to dive more of this. So you are welcome. Thanks for taking your time and going through this. You are welcome. Have a nice day.